Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of May 31st through June 6th. And during that time, we have a full moon that comes in on the 31st. That can be a time of heightened emotions. You might feel overwhelmed and anxious, maybe a little irritable. You also might have changes in your sleeping patterns, but it is a good time to release any resentment or fear. Just give it all to the big full moon. Also, just to practice patience and calm. If you're anything like me, I don't get anxious, but I do get very energetic during a full moon. And I found um, later in life that is kind of a thing. As you go through different kind of decades of your life, you do feel differently around different phases of the moon. So if you're into researching that, it's very interesting. So anyway, through the rest of the week, we have the waning gibbous energy, and that is a really good time of self-reflection and rebirth. It was a good time to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking and get back to work on those things that you started during the new cycle. So please keep those moon energies in mind, Aquarius, as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't here on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is a time to give rather than take. All right, that's a nice sentiment. Let's see what your cards have to say this week for you, Aquarius. As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder for you this week is that you take some time to get out in nature this week. I know it's been a little warmer here, which has been nice. Actually, we had a couple of really hot days, and I really love that. But if the weather's nice for you, get out and take a walk somewhere. Go find a nice park to walk in, or just sit and enjoy. If you have some water around you, if you can sit and enjoy the ocean waves, we're all jealous. So go do that. Also, with that full moon, the night sky should be very beautiful. So get out and see that a little bit. But get out and just commune with nature a little bit this week and just really connect and enjoy nature. So that is my fun weekly reminder for you. With that said, let's get into this reading. May 31st through June 6th, a time to give rather than take. Your present energy right now is the Two of Swords. So, sitting in a place where you're thinking through some sort of decision right now. And that's fine. The water behind, on this card, very calm. It's not like you're in a big rush to make a decision, but you're just kind of mulling some things over. And make sure you're thinking it through before you actually land on a decision there. Your current situation is the Queen of Wands. So this could be a decision involving something having to do with passion and having to do with the understanding of what drives you, what gets you up in the morning, what lights your fire. And there might be some decision there going on that you're making this week about that. This could be anything related to a job situation, a relationship situation, some sort of hobby or something that you're involved with, but it is about making a decision that's kind of an either or, which path to go down, right? At the root of your situation is the Six of Wands here, which is about feeling a little bit of recognition, and that could come into this decision making. You might have a path that you could go down um, where there's more recognition. This is kind of enjoying recognition from people around you, in whatever situation, like, hey, good job on this, whatever you're working on. And that's kind of at the root of it. And is that driving you? Make sure that you are clear in your thoughts about when you make a decision that, yeah, recognition feels really good, but does that mean you stay on the same path or move to a different path? If you're thinking it through, don't let that feeling of being recognized, although it feels nice, like, you can move beyond it. It's not like you want to stay. What am I trying to say? Stay in a situation where you get to feel that feeling over and over. So even though it feels good, you might want to challenge yourself a little bit more. I hope that makes sense. In your recent past, a little bit of a broken heart here with the Three of Swords. So, um, yeah, you might be moving past something here. You had some sort of disappointment here in your past, and it might be affecting your decision making right now. So, so this recognition. Okay, let's let more of these cards come out. I'm kind of seeing a picture here, but let's see what else. What's on your mind this week is the Knight of Wands. So this is action in the passion realm. So look at all these, swords coming in with things in the past and also just making this decision. But um, yeah, almost like there was some sort of heartbreak in your past that's affecting your decision making, but also it's the things right now. It's like, where do your passions really lie? Does it lie in this understanding and this and are you going to take action? I mean, that's on your mind, but I think you have to make that decision first. What is just ahead of you this week is the Knight of Pentacles. So 2 nights, and maybe this is job or material related. Looks like you're going to take some sort of action passionately, but also some sort of action kind of in the material or the financial realm. So this could be, again, job related where you're trying to make a decision. Do you want to go for the money or do you want to go for the recognition and the feeling, that feeling of being, satisfied when it comes to passion, so very interesting. Let's see what else comes out here. In your advice position is to be done with something. There's something that you are definitely, and this could just be a way of thinking. Maybe you're done thinking about this, whatever happened in the past, because it's affecting your decision making. And sometimes it is hard just to put things to bed, things that have happened and have been heartbreaking. Of course, it's going to affect decisions that you're making in the future. But I feel like the advice is that you really need to just get over this and not let it affect your decision making. So, don't let that be a factor in in your decision making. And I also feel like for some reason this recognition, don't let that be a factor. Like I was trying to explain before, yeah, that feels really good to be recognized for something, but you don't want to stay in a place just because that feeling is there. That's not going to sustain you forever. That the fun of that will go away after a while. And also holding on to the feelings behind this broken heart and how it changed you, all of these things are affecting your decision. And no wonder, I feel like you're very muddled, and I think it's very hard to make a decision. So something needs to give, and you need to give up and be done. And this is air energy. This is about thinking about things. So, and I think the first thing it takes me to is this 3. Whatever that heartbreak was in the past, you really kind of need to get over it, just to be blunt about it. And sometimes that's not easy, but if you focus on it, I think you can probably do that. And you can just look back and say, what did I learn? What did I get out of it? Anytime we go through something like that, it's not for nothing. It's because it was there to teach you things. Did you learn those things? Are you moving forward with that knowledge and using those knowledge points that you've learned in a positive way? So, all right, what is beyond your control this week is the Empress. So look what happens when you let go of this. The Empress is about creativity and building. She's not worried about a past relationship. She's not worried about a broken heart. She's definitely let it go. Actually, the Empress is our card also of long-term creativity. So she can be our card of pregnancy. I always have to mention that. So careful if that's something you are being careful with right now. But she is about long term decisions on like how you're going to be. And that's what I'm saying too about this recognition that you want to recognition is nice, but you're not going to build a complete life the rest of your life on it. You need to seek out things that are kind of foundationally stronger than just kind of a momentary pat on the back, right? And that's the Empress. Definitely, she's about long term. She doesn't make decisions that she's not going to stick to long term. So that's beyond your control this week. What is your secret desire? What are you trying to avoid? Page of Wands. So, are you trying to avoid cultivating some new passion here? Or is it your secret desire? It could be. And maybe that's also where this decision point is going to be. So this is a question that you do need to ask yourself. Are you ready to nurture something new in the way of passion, or are you afraid to? So, and why? That's when you answer that question. Is it your secret desire you're trying to avoid? There's no right or wrong answer to that, but you need to ask it, answer it, and then at least understand your answer. In your outcome, Aquarius is the Death card. I think ultimately, the Death card, it's like this one. I think you have to let this go. I think you really have to let this go in order to move into this Empress phase, right? It's like, what did you learn? And maybe that's why you're at this indecision point here. It might be fear. If you had if you've gone through something heartbreaking in your past, it might be, hard to think about nurturing something new when you haven't even taken the time to really learn, to figure out what you've learned there. So I think this 10, these are both ending cards, and these are definite endings. Like once you're done, once you learn this, I think you move along, and you move along in a lighter manner where you can make long-term decisions about things. So, and here's what's interesting too, I want to point out. This heartbreak card is a 3, and so is the Empress. So look up number 33, but just notice the difference between both of these. This is a broken heart that leads to the after, if you know what you've learned, it leads to really making long-term happy commitments for the rest of your life. So the commitments that last for a really, really long time. So that's very, very interesting, I believe. Just saying. What is hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck is you're not really looking back on the future. And wow, that what was I just, or looking back on the past, I mean. I feel like whatever this heartbreak, you might have just been like, yep, done, moving on, moving along. But now you're seeing that not processing it enough is leading you to indecision because because of fear, honestly. You're afraid that you're going to have to go through that again. You need to work through that stuff. Take pen to paper. I said get out in nature this week, journal this stuff, write it down. What did you learn? What did you learn? And how are you not going to make the same mistakes in the future? So, something for you to think about, Aquarius. What did you learn? All right, let's get you a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Aquarius. This was kind of a deep reading. Okay, I'm going to go back to your overall, which was a time to give rather than take. And so maybe if this is a relationship thing, it may be time for you to just give of yourself a little bit more than you've been willing to. Again, something's holding up your decision. Work through the heartbreak of the past and figure out what you've learned from it. All right, final message here for Aquarius is ask with sincerity. Ask the universe, what did I learn? What was I supposed to learn? Did I learn those things? Maybe not, but you have to ask. You have to kind of figure and ask yourself that too. I think that'll get you. And if you're feeling kind of in that either or decision making zone, I think clarifying these things to yourself is going to make the decision that much more clear for you. Okay. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care while you're going through all of this week. This is kind of a heavy reading here, Aquarius. I mean, there's a lot going on, but you can get through it. You can get through it. All right. Self-care for you is the card that says reassess. You have the right to change your mind. You have the right to change your mind. You have the right to learn these things. You have a right to not make a decision yet, also, while you're working this stuff out. So you might need to tell someone, be patient, be patient. Maybe that's the ask with sincerity too, is just be a little patient with me. Be patient while I work these things out because you'll get there. I have faith in you. So, Aquarius, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there's something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment and let me know. Or if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you. And if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe is really helpful to me. It helps my channel, and I appreciate that so much. So good luck with all of this, Aquarius, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.